your name? Don't you play this game? You from another land, got you like it's contraband. Tell me what's your name? Don't you play this game? You from another land, got you like it's contraband.
What's up, guys? Keyshawn Uchiha here, back at you with another new one. I was about to do a old part to an Ultimate Universe, but I'm gonna have to do a lot of work on that, so I just do it tomorrow or maybe just later on in the day. But this is gonna be another new Ultimate Universe, so you're gonna get 2 videos today. Regularly I do 1, but y'all gonna get 2. This is gonna be what if Naruto can change his bloodlines. Now, this is an idea from a subscriber. Shouts out to him. He know what he is. And pretty much when I was reading his idea, I thought it was a pretty good idea. I really didn't want to do it, to be honest, because I didn't want to fuck it up. But I had to work up my courage, fix my shit, and pretty much we're going to do it. Now, this is going to be what if Naruto can change his bloodlines. Now, what do I mean by changing his bloodlines? I'm talking about he can change his bloodlines as pretty much he can change his DNA, like, let's just say change his bloodlines as, like, he can change his self bloodlines or anyone else bloodlines, as he can change his, he can become, let's say, a Osuski, he can become, like, let's say, a Saiyan, or just become straight up this, or can change himself into a vampire. Basically, he can change his DNA and also his bloodlines. So, let's say, like, Minato was, pretty much a Uzumaki, right? He can change himself. He can change Minato's bloodline. Well, basically, he can change everybody's bloodline, including himself. So whoever made him, or who also was, like, connected with him, will be changed too. And I know what you're thinking. A little bit confusing, but I'll basically explain the story while we're continuing. But let's go. Pretty much, we start off with the Nine Tails attack, and pretty much Kushina giving birth to Naruto, and everything happens the same. This is where Naruto started crying, and Kushina and Minato, before they start dying, they see that Naruto's changing his hair color, his hair is turning long, he's changing his sex. He's basically just changing everything about him. He turns into a female, then he starts turning into a male, then he start turning into a vampire. Basically, he's changing his bloodline without him even knowing. This is where Kushina is also transforming too, and pretty much Minato and Kushina both turn into vampires in a hot second, and their wounds begins to heal in a fast, rapid pace. So pretty much they heal up, but they pretty much heal up, but not in completely healed. This is where Minato passes out because Naruto is changing all the bloodlines, and he's also constantly, like, changing into a Susuki, and he's just basically changing while he's crying. This is where Kushina comfort Naruto, and Naruto begins to calm down and changes back. And this is where Kushina is not 100% completely healed, but she is tired and pretty much passes out. This is where Hiruzen comes in and see Kushina and Minato still alive, which Minato, even though he used the Ripper Death Seal, which he's supposed to be dead, apparently so he's alive. Because, like I said, those bloodlines can really do some shit. But this is where pretty much Naruto gets picked up, and Kushina is pretty much holding Naruto's tight. So pretty much they just get Kushina and Naruto, and they take Minato and take them to the hospital. This is where the change of events will happen. This is where Minato is pretty much in a hospital, and he's in a coma, which pretty much Kushina is in a hospital too, in a coma as well. And Naruto is pretty much still by himself again. But at least his mom and dad is alive. So that's good, but also bad at the same time. But let's continue. As that's happening, this is where Hiruzen is saying that Minato is still alive, which Fukaku is saying, I should become Hokage until the day he wakes back up, which, well, no, not Hiruzen. Donzo was saying, I should become Hokage just in case when he wakes back up, which this is where Hiruzen says, fuck no. Every other elder is saying fuck no. And they pretty much give Hiruzen Hokage until Minato wakes back up and when the time is ready. And Naruto will pretty much be taken in a orphanage home or be watched by someone else. Which this is where we continue the start of the anime. Now, this is where we have the same age of Naruto. Pretty much is different from everybody else because he pretty much doesn't have, like, he doesn't know that he can change his bloodlines yet. All he knows is he looks different each day, and people pretty much calls him a freaking weirdo. Which he doesn't know why he looks different every day. One day he will look like a female, which no one doesn't know that it's Naruto because his hair will be different and his whole eyes and color will be different. The next day he will become Naruto, but with different hair and stuff, and will become a male, which everybody's saying oh, it's that weird Nine-Tails Cherokee, and then well, Nine-Tails Brat, and the next day he can just turn into a female, which he doesn't know how he can control it. Let me also, I forgot to also say, he can also change his Hikinkenkai and stuff. So also he will also be having dojutsus, so he can also have like dirt, wind, and scorch and blaze. So he will also have all that stuff and bolt. But let's continue. Pretty much, this is where Naruto is failing another again at the shadow, failing again at. Sorry about that. Failing again at the shadow clone test because his chakra soul is absolutely dog water, even though he's practiced, and he pretty much is about to head home until he pretty much gets a talk from Mitsuki, which Mitsuki says that he will let him pass if he can get the scroll ceiling, which Naruto agrees because he really wants to pass to make his mom and dad proud. Which, yes, he knows about his. Well, no, not really. He doesn't know about his mom and dad, so I take that back. But pretty much this is where he's going home, and he's pretty much getting ready to steal the scroll. And as he's getting ready to steal the scroll, this is where he goes and he gets the scroll stealing. Now, this is where he starts getting the scroll stealing, but he sees another scroll of interest that he feels like he should take, and he pretty much takes it too. And it's a small scroll. Now, this is where he's going, and as he's going, this is where he pretty much sits down and pretty much sees what he can learn. All the things is confusing, but he do learn the multi-chakra jutsu as in canon. But this is where he opens up and sees the other scroll that he wanted to see in. As he's looking in, this is where he can read it, which, as he's reading it, which no one else can read this but him, it's pretty much saying bloodline, bloodline technique, which, or pretty much a bloodline, a bit power, which he can read it. This is where it explains to him that he can change his bloodlines or change anything about himself, or basically become whatever he wants to be. Which this is where Naruto, as he's looking at the same time, this is where he's pretty much seeing that he can change his whole bloodline and stuff, and he pretty much looks at a problem that says to fully control its power, you must put your thumb right here, and it will unleash. Which this is where Naruto does it, and he pretty much gets hit with something. Well, it pretty much activates and pretty much overflow him with power. Now, this is where, as he's getting overflowed with power, this is where he's getting his memories from past lives he lived as Hiroshi, as the first Hokage, and also as the Sage of Six Past Sons. And he begins to remember everything, but at the same time, it's overflowing him. And this is where it pretty much makes his nose bleed. And he's saying, "What the hell is that? And who was all those people?" And pretty much he's getting the memories from everybody, including Kaguya. Yes, Kaguya. And he pretty much gets the memories of everybody who's like in here right now. So yeah, except for Sasuke. Well, you could say, including Obito. Well, yeah, you could say Sasuke too. And pretty much it sees like all their emotions and stuff, and he begins to first feels anger, then sadness, then despair, then happiness. He's just going through a whole emotional train, you could say. Now, this is where Naruto pretty much gets a higher and realizes that he been played, and he's about to return the scroll until Aruka Sensei comes up to Naruto asking what's Naruto doing here with that scroll, which Naruto's basically saying he was just about to return it, until Mitsuki comes in doing the same thing as Kennen, which Aruka jumps in and saves Naruto's life. Now, this is where Naruto runs away with the scroll, and pretty much Mitsuki tells the whole secret, saying that Naruto's a Nine-Tails Cherokee, that the Nine-Tails attack happened, causing the causing the first, causing the first Hokage, causing the Hokage Minato to go in a coma and pretty much all that shit, which Naruto is looking down, but uh begins to clench his fist, which pretty much Iruka does the same speech as in canon, and Naruto gets out and pretty much creates a lot more clones than usual in canon, and pretty much does these hand seals to pretty much shoot all different not chakra natures at Mitsuki, pretty much killing him. Instead of whooping his ass, he kills him in this one. Now, as that's happening, this is where Naruto asks Iruka if he's okay, which Iruka pretty much says he is okay, and thanks Naruto for pretty much saving his life, and also give Naruto a band saying he's ready. He thinks he'll become a good ninja, which Naruto smiles and thanks Iruka. Now, after that, this is where Naruto begins to change his bloodline, and begins to say he wants to be strong, and he begins to change himself into a Susuke, but realize that he starts getting thirst for chakra, and he begins to get hungry for chakra, and also at the same time he's coughing up blood because he's trying to add some bloodlines together that's he can't really control yet. So he begins to stop, and he begins to just start off with some light bloodlines, and he merges Uzumaki with no he merged Hyuga with Senju DNA, Senju DNA and Uchiha DNA. Nah, not Uchiha DNA. Actually, yeah, with some Uchiha DNA. Nah, Uzumaki DNA. We do the Uchiha DNA on part 2, but pretty much as that's happening, he begins to feel the transformation, and also he feels himself getting stronger, and realize that he can make himself buff. He can change himself to make himself buff and strong, or make himself tall as an adult, or pretty much turn himself as female, which he knows he can do that. But he pretty much just starts off with those light stuff, and he begins to head to the class. Now, as he heads in class, this is where Naruto hair is a little bit longer, and also had the side hair things. And kids begins to look at Naruto, which Naruto doesn't care because pretty much he knows everybody's weakness. He can see it. He can see their weak points and stuff. And he's saying this is pretty goddamn cool, which he pretty much goes sit down smiling. This is where Sakura is saying, "What the hell are you smiling about, Naruto?" Which Naruto looks at Sakura and he looks away because he doesn't really care about Sakura anymore. Because he just found out he could legit change her whole bloodline if he wanted to. He can make her absolutely more useless if he wants to. But he pretty much don't care about that. This is where pretty much the teacher comes in and pretty much does all the teams and says for Team 7, Naruto Uzumaki, Sakura Haruno, and pretty much Sasuke Uchiha, which pretty much everybody decided. Pretty much this is where Sakura is decided to be with Sasuke, but not decided to be with Naruto, which Naruto doesn't really care. Now, this is what Naruto is waiting for Kakashi, and Naruto will not do the trap because, like I said, Naruto remembers everything and realizes that pretty much throwing the trap is useless, but he still has his little bit carefree, happy nature, but he also has this now serious, I fuck you up tone, and don't fuck with me or I'll beat your ass kind of tone. But he has it a little bit mixed. But pretty much this is where Naruto is sitting down waiting for Kakashi, and he begins to practice with his wood style, and Sasuke looks at it, sees Naruto practicing it, and looks at Naruto saying, "Is he a Senju?" And pretty much Sasuke looks at Naruto with an angry tone because, like I said, Sasuke has been heard about the Uchihas not being cool with Senju, and they don't fuck with them, and Senju don't fuck with the Uchihas. So yeah, he kind of looks at Naruto at a different look, but he looks away, saying, but this is where he also sees Naruto do something else. Like he's like creating little like wind natures and stuff, or lava nature, and the wood branches are turning into lava, ice and stuff. So he's like contemplating of what the hell is Naruto and how can he do that stuff. But this is where Kakashi comes in, and Naruto pretty much stops what he's doing and looks at Kakashi. And pretty much Kakashi says, this is an interesting team. And he especially looks at Naruto because Naruto looks a little bit different. But he tells everybody to meet up in the rooftop. Now, as he's telling everybody to meet up in the rooftop, this is where he pretty much... Sorry about that. This is where he pretty much tells everybody to tell their goals and stuff, which he says his first. Sakura tells her thing, saying, well, she likes... And then she starts blushing and stuff. Like, no one gives a damn. But pretty much this is where Sasuke does his thing, which Naruto knows what Sasuke means and who he wants to kill. Because like I said, he kind of has Sasuke bloodline and stuff, and he's connected to Sasuke, so he knows that he wants to kill Itachi. And this is where Naruto says his thing, and he says he doesn't want to become Hokage. No, he wants to be the best Kage out there, and he wants to have all villages to make an ultimate alliance. Like, he wants to have all the villages to become as one, you could say. But pretty much that's all he says. This is where Kakashi tells them to meet up for the bell test tomorrow. Don't eat or you're going to puke, which they all agree. And they begin to all go. Now, this is part 1 of what if Naruto can change his bloodlines. If you like, leave a like, do all that stuff. But I'm Keyshawn Chia. Thanks for watching, and peace out. Oh, also, let's just get this up to like 30 likes, and I will do automatically part 2 today, okay? But I'm Keyshawn Chia. Thanks for watching, and peace out.
It looks like you lost another one.